How badly do you want it? I'm not talking about a casual desire. I'm talking about the kind of hunger that keeps you awake at night. The kind of fire that burns so strong, it forces you out of bed before the sun rises, not because someone told you to, but because you refuse to settle. That's the power of hard work. That's the difference between those who talk and those who do. This is not a motivational story. This is a wake-up call. You've got dreams, so what? Everyone does. The only people who make it are the ones who refuse to sleep on them. Life is ruthless to the lazy. It rewards the relentless, the obsessed, the ones who decide that their future is non-negotiable. You want to be great? Get up and work hard. There's no secret, no shortcut, no miracle waiting around the corner. What's waiting for you is sweat, setbacks, and sacrifice, and only those who embrace them will ever taste real success. People keep asking, what's the formula? They want hacks. They want comfort. They want easy. But success is never easy. The formula is simple, not easy. Get up. Show up. Work hard. Repeat every day. Whether you feel like it or not. Whether the world sees you or not. Because one day, the world will see what you've built in silence. You see, your competition isn't sleeping. They're not sitting around waiting for the right moment. They're grinding. They're learning. They're becoming better. And every time you skip the grind, someone else outworks you and outruns you. Do not expect a $1 million life on minimum effort. You don't get the life you want. You get the life you work for. This speech isn't just for your ears. It's for your actions. If you truly listen, it will shake your comfort, challenge your excuses, and make you uncomfortable enough to change. So don't click away. Don't scroll past. You owe it to yourself to hear the truth you've been avoiding. If you don't hustle for your goals, you'll work for someone who did. Get up and work hard. This is not a trend. This is a lifestyle, a mindset, a war against average. And if you're brave enough to fight that war every single day, victory will belong to you, not because you were the smartest or the luckiest, but because you outworked every single excuse. Stay till the end, because what's coming next in this speech will shift the way you think about effort, time, and the price of success. If you've ever doubted yourself or felt like quitting, the next moments are exactly what you need. Don't move. Don't miss it, because this might just be the reminder that reignites your fire. Success never comes to the lazy. That's not just a principle, it's a fact of life. Every person who has built something extraordinary, every story that's inspired you, every legacy you admire, behind all of it is relentless hard work. People often look at success and think it's luck, talent, or timing. But what they don't see is the grind, the sleepless nights, the pain that goes into becoming exceptional. Dreams are cheap. They cost nothing. Everyone has them. What matters is the cost you're willing to pay to bring those dreams into reality. And the price is always the same: effort, consistent, daily, uncomfortable effort. We live in a time where distractions are everywhere and comfort is sold as success. But comfort never builds anything. Comfort is the enemy of growth. The truth is, lazy habits will never lead to meaningful results. You can wish all you want. You can visualize and manifest and write affirmations every morning. But if you're not moving your feet, getting your hands dirty, and putting in real work, you're just decorating your excuses. You can't outdream someone who's outworking you. Look around, there are thousands, maybe millions, who want the same thing you want. The same goals, the same recognition, the same success. but only a few will earn it. Why? Because most people aren't willing to do what it takes. They start, but they don't continue. They get excited, but they don't endure. They want the reward, but not the process. And that's why the road to success is never crowded, because most people turn back the moment the road gets steep. But if you want to rise, you've got to be different. You've got to embrace the grind. You've got to see hard work not as a burden, but as the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Nothing you want will ever just fall into your lap. Even the most gifted people have to work like underdogs to stay ahead. So imagine what it means for the rest of us. If you're not willing to hustle, sacrifice, and bleed for what you want, then prepare to settle for whatever comes easy, and know this: what comes easy is never great. Greatness doesn't come from shortcuts. It comes from showing up when no one claps for you, when no one believes in you, when every part of your body tells you to quit, but you keep going. That's what builds champions. So don't envy success. Respect the effort. And if you truly want it, don't just sit there thinking. Get up and move. Get up and train. Get up and work. You owe it to your future self to do the hard things today. Because the truth is brutally simple. The dream will never work unless you do. Excuses are the enemy of progress. They're the chains we put on ourselves, disguised as reasons. Every time you say, "I'm too tired," "I don't have time," or "it's just not the right moment," you are feeding the part of you that wants to stay stuck. The part that fears effort. And that part will never build anything worth remembering. Success doesn't care about your comfort. It doesn't ask if you had a rough day or if you feel inspired. It rewards execution, not explanation. And the longer you keep justifying your lack of action, the further you drift from the results you crave. Look closely at the people who win, and you'll see something powerful. They all stopped making excuses. They stopped blaming their parents, their environment, their past failures, and they decided to take ownership. It wasn't because they had more time or fewer problems. It was because they made a decision to stop letting their circumstances write their future. They understood one thing clearly: excuses are stories we tell ourselves to avoid discomfort, to justify procrastination, and to escape accountability. Let me be direct. If you're not where you want to be, don't blame anyone else. Look in the mirror. That's the person responsible. That's the one who has the power to change it all. The job you hate, you're still there because of your choices. The body you're not proud of, it's built or neglected by your habits. The goals you keep pushing off, they're waiting on your discipline, not your motivation. And you keep making excuses. If you keep selling yourself reasons for inaction, you are the one holding yourself back. We all have obstacles. Every single person walking this planet is battling something. But winners, they don't use those obstacles as permission to quit. They use them as fuel. They work harder because of them, not in spite of them. They know life will never be perfect, so they stop waiting for perfect conditions. They create progress in imperfect moments. It's time to stop lying to yourself. Time to stop waiting for inspiration. Time to silence the voice in your head that tells you later, tomorrow, or not now. That voice is a thief. It steals your potential, your energy, and your future. The truth is, every excuse you make today becomes a regret tomorrow. You don't get those days back. You don't get a second shot at this hour, this minute, this chance. So burn your excuses. Write them down if you have to and destroy them. Replace them with action. Replace them with discipline. replace them with work. Because nothing you want will come to life through words or wishes. It will come only when you stop explaining your failure and start demanding results from yourself. You are capable of more, but only if you stop standing in your own way. Discipline outranks motivation every single time. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like the weather, unpredictable, unreliable, and often absent when you need it most. You can wake up inspired today and feel completely drained tomorrow. If you're depending on motivation to carry you to your goals, you're already setting yourself up for failure. But discipline is different. Discipline is solid. It's dependable. It's the engine that keeps running even when the fuel of motivation runs out. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. It shows up anyway. It does the work regardless of mood, weather, or circumstance. The people who win, the ones who truly build something meaningful, they don't always feel like doing the hard things. They don't always wake up excited. They don't always want to push through the pain, but they do it anyway. Why? Because they built discipline into their identity. Discipline isn't just a habit for them, it's who they are. They don't negotiate with their goals. They don't ask themselves, do I feel like it today? They've already decided. The decision is made. They show up and execute because success demands consistency, and consistency is born from discipline. Think about the gym. Everyone's motivated in January. The gym is packed. People are energized. But come March, it's empty again. Why? Because motivation faded and most people didn't have the discipline to keep going. They were driven by feelings, not by commitment. And this is exactly how most people live their lives. They start strong, they start loud, and then they vanish. But those with discipline, they keep showing up quietly, relentlessly, day after day. And that's why they win. Discipline is the act of choosing what you want most over what you want now. It's waking up early when you'd rather sleep. It's staying in and working on your craft when your friends are out having fun. It's sacrificing short-term pleasure for long-term gain. It's doing the work even when no one is watching, and especially when no one is clapping. That's the level of consistency it takes. And if you can train yourself to be disciplined, there is nothing, absolutely nothing you cannot achieve. So stop chasing the perfect mood. Stop waiting to feel inspired. That's a trap. You don't rise by feeling good. You rise by doing what needs to be done regardless of how you feel. Set the standard, build the routine, and follow through. Discipline is a skill. And like any skill, it gets stronger the more you use it. Every time you push through resistance, every time you show up tired, every time you stay committed when quitting feels easier, you're sharpening your edge. And soon, that edge becomes unbreakable. Motivation might get you started, but it's discipline that finishes the race. When you don't feel like it, remember this: champions don't wait for the right mood. They train their minds to obey the mission. That's the mindset that separates the great from the average. Work hard when no one is watching, because that's when the real transformation happens. That's where the gap between ordinary and extraordinary is built, not under the spotlight, not when you're being praised, but in silence, when it's just you, your vision, and your effort. It's easy to give your best when the world is clapping for you. It's easy to act committed when eyes are on you and recognition is expected. But what defines who you truly are is what you do when no one's paying attention. That's where greatness is born, in the shadows, in the grind that no one sees. Success isn't a show, it's a process. And most of that process is invisible to the world. What they eventually applaud is only the result. What they don't see is the struggle, the discipline, The long hours, the failed attempts, and the countless moments of doubt that had to be fought through. That's why you must learn to love the unseen effort. Fall in love with being underestimated. Embrace the silence of unseen labor, because one day, that quiet effort will make so much noise the world won't be able to ignore you. You don't become great by performing when it's easy. You become great by pushing through when it's hard and no one's around to validate your effort. Champions are not created in arenas, they're revealed there. They are created in lonely mornings, in late nights, in daily battles with self-doubt and fatigue. They are formed in the cold, repetitive routines that demand your full commitment without offering applause. That's where character is carved. That's where your future is being written. So, if no one sees you grinding, don't worry. If no one notices your effort, don't stop. If no one understands your hunger, don't slow down. Their silence is not your signal to stop. It's your opportunity to outgrow the need for validation. Because when you can be disciplined in private, success will become inevitable in public. Most people only work hard when it benefits their ego when they're being watched, when they think the payoff is instant. But the truth is, nothing worth having comes instantly. Nothing lasting is built without patience and persistence. You've got to outlast the excitement and outwork your excuses. The vision in your mind is only possible if you're willing to show up day after day, even when the progress is invisible, even when you question if it's worth it. So commit to the work, not the attention. Commit to the grind, not the recognition. Because the moment you start working hard in silence, you're no longer just chasing success, you're becoming the kind of person who deserves it. And when you finally step into the spotlight, people won't understand how you got there so fast. But you'll know you didn't get lucky. You got consistent. You didn't wait to be seen. You worked until you couldn't be ignored. Hard work makes you irreplaceable. In a world full of talent, charm, and potential, it's not the most gifted who rise to the top, it's the most relentless. Talent might get you noticed, but it's hard work that keeps you relevant. You can be the smartest in the room, but if you're not the one grinding the longest, showing up the most consistently, and pushing the hardest, someone else will pass you. Because here's the truth. Talent is everywhere. Effort is rare. You can't control your natural gifts, but you can control your hustle. You can control how early you start your day, how late you stay up to sharpen your skills, how much you're willing to sacrifice to stay ahead of the curve. That's what separates the average from the elite, the willingness to outwork everyone. When you work like your position is never guaranteed, you begin to operate on another level. That mindset doesn't just elevate your performance, it makes you essential. In every industry, every field, every team, there are people who can do the job, but there are very few who do it with such consistency and fire that they become the standard. That's what you're aiming for. To become so reliable, so valuable, so driven that removing you is not even an option. You want to be the person others can count on. You want to be the one who delivers regardless of pressure, circumstance, or difficulty. And that's not something you become by accident. That's something you earn through effort every single day. Being irreplaceable doesn't mean you're perfect. It means you refuse to be outworked. It means you learn fast, adapt faster, and show up with the same intensity whether you're winning or struggling. It means you raise the standard not just for yourself, but for everyone around you. You inspire through action, not words. You don't beg for opportunities. You create them through the weight of your work ethic. The world respects the ones who deliver, who rise through persistence, not privilege. Because the ones who last aren't always the most talented, they're the ones who refuse to quit. They build habits, systems, and discipline that carry them when motivation fades. They don't just chase success, they train for it, prepare for it, and fight for it like it's life or death. So If you want to stand out, work harder. If you want people to remember your name, outlast their doubts. If you want to become irreplaceable, bring effort so consistent, so undeniable that it rewrites how people see you. When others slow down, speed up. When others relax, refocus. And when others think they've done enough, you do more. That mindset, the decision to give everything when it would be easier to give less, is what will separate you forever. That is the foundation of greatness. That is how you rise. That is how you win. Let me leave you with this. No one is coming to push you. No one is going to wake you up, hold you accountable, or hand you the life you dream about. That's your job. You want success? Then earn it. Show the world what you're made of, not by talking, but by showing up every single day with the fire to grow, the grit to endure, and the heart to never settle.